Hello, class. A little fun fact to throw out for you. According to websites such as Psychology Today and Newswire Today, public speaking actually is ranked amongst the number one fear amongst Americans, even over death. So I don't think we're going to die today. Just going to push through it and get through this speaking. So a few of my items have changed, including the bag and one item inside since from my outline. Just because shortly after doing my outline, I thought that even though these items need to represent me and how they affect me, they also need to show how they've helped me with public speaking and public interactions, being that this is a communications class. So, my first option here, as you can see, is a fatigue bag. I received this bag at the age of 19 on Paris Island, training to become a Marine. Now, this had up to that point, it had been a dream of mine for years and years because I've had cousins and uncles who have served and who are serving currently. So I've always looked at these guys as just Superman, and I still hold them to a very, very high standard. So, unfortunately for me, halfway through boot camp, I was discharged due to some health issues. Now, at that point, I had left college to pursue this dream, and I was young, so I felt as if that was the end, as I had no plan to go on. My life had basically came to a point where I had no idea what to do. But it taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me that no matter what objects come up in front of you in life or even in public speaking, that you kind of have to keep pushing on no matter what, and just stay on task and stay on course and just chase your dreams and go after it. So it taught me a very valuable lesson. Now, my first item to represent my past, as you can see, is a Garmin GPS. Now, at first, I was going to use a toy truck for this, but I just came to the realization that this is more appropriate for a college course, more mature. But it represents my past because as a child, I moved a lot, a whole lot. And I've lived in places such as Ohio, Pennsylvania, and I reside in North Carolina now, just to name a few of the places that I have lived. Now, this made it very hard for me to just form normal friendships that children do, and just normal social interactions were very hard for me just because of that lack of security of knowing where I was going to be from one day to another, one year to another. It made it very hard for me. Now, looking back on it, it taught me some valuable lessons. One, it taught me how to adapt, which is very, very important in life because you never know what's going to come up, but you can't let that situation hit and just stop you dead in your tracks. Now, that's important when it comes to public speaking because you never know when the professor or even someone in your audience may throw out a question at you that you weren't quite expecting. You have to be able to stay on task while answering their question and answering it effectively, but still being able to get your point across and have that speech come to that endpoint that you originally wanted it to come to. So that's a very, very important item for me just because being able to adapt is just very vital to surviving in general. Now, my second option here, second item, I'm sorry, is key, as you can see. Now, this key represents my present for a few reasons. One, I am a Christian, which I believe in God, and the whole basis of Christianity is just having faith and confidence in God firstly, and then yourself. And by giving God the key to your heart, He'll open up, so many doors and make ways for you that you never could have thought possible. Also, this is the first key that me and my girlfriend exchanged when we moved in together, which that took an extreme amount of trust and confidence in each other to be able to come to the point where we can live together and coexist. Now, public speaking is all about confidence, all about it. It's hard for me to try to speak to you and get a point across when I'm not confident in myself because an audience can see that. And if I'm not confident in myself or I look like I don't quite believe or know what it is that I'm speaking on, it's going to be very hard for the audience to accept that because how can they accept it when you're so wish-washy? So that's a very, very important aspect to have. My last item here, and I can get to it, is actually a locket that I got my girlfriend. This represents us very much in my future just because she's brought out so many cool characteristics and things in me that I never thought I had in me, just being outgoing and being confident. And I hope that, our future leads to marriage and that we spend the rest of our lives together. But I know that takes compromise. So compromise is very important just in everyday social interactions because we can't reach a common endpoint if I'm only willing to put in input and not willing to sit back and actually listen and accept what someone else has to say to me. It's hard to come to a conclusion when I put a wall up. So it's very, very important in communication to just focus on not only saying too much, but just being receptive to what the other person has to say, even if you don't totally agree. So these are just a few items that represent me, and I hope you enjoyed it.